Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SATAL 2020. I am your host, Moltar, and we are here with Gold League. Yesterday we had Diamond League, but we are back with Gold League today. Number 15 Battle Axes taking on Dragon Squadron. It is going to be, I think, Guadada versus Krimsk. Lots of Guadada as of lately, but we are on the West Coast again. Guadada versus Krimsk. I'm seeing 4 F-16s for number 15. Typically, we've seen Beaver in an F-14, but 4 F-16s coming from them, and I think I've got 4 18s for Dragon Squadron. So symmetrical rolls, 4 16s, so symmetrical on their side, and 4 18s, I think, on Dragon Squadron side. I can't be sure because the camera I'm looking at is a little bit far away from a couple of the guys, but we're going to check that out. Again, Gold League, Dragon Squadron taking on number 15 Battle Axes. I just got the Thrustmaster Supercut from Alpha Whiskey, so we'll be checking that out. I have not seen it yet, so I'll be watching it with you guys. But let's jump into it, see how this Supercut goes, and then we will be back at the airfields getting ready to take off. Here we go. Welcome back. What a phenomenal job that Alpha Whiskey continues to do on those Thrustmaster Supercuts. But we are here watching number 15 sit on the ramp. We flip over, we can see Dragon Squadron taxiing down to finish up, meeting up. And actually, it looks like they got some 16s, so I was wrong about them being all 18s because they do have some 16s here. I can see some 16s down there on the end of the runway. But how is everybody doing this morning? I'm doing great. Yesterday I was wasn't feeling all that fantastic, especially after the stream. I masked it pretty well during the stream, but especially after the stream, I wasn't doing great. But we're doing better now. I feel great. What did I do yesterday? We went and watched. My daughter's been in swim lessons. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. She's been in swim lessons. She's 2. And she learned how to float without any assistance, so that's been awesome. That was really exciting for that to happen yesterday, so that was great. But That's been my life today. My brother's coming over. We got to watch him. I have a special needs brother for anybody that doesn't know. He's coming over to stay with us. My mom, she's a nurse practitioner. She works overnights as a NICU nurse practitioner. So we get my brother every once in a while. So we got him coming over tonight. So that's my life. That's Moltar's life in a nutshell. Played some hell divers with my brother yesterday since my pit isn't set up. I don't have a pit yet. Been trying to think about what I want to do. But enough about my life. Let's talk about what is getting ready to go on. So we got Dragon Squadron as the home team taking on number 15 Battle Axes. Now, number 15 Battle Axes, let's go to split screen so we don't miss anything. Number 15 historically has had at least one F-14. Now, today, I don't see any F-14s. So they've changed something since last time we watched them fly. Beaver, historically, is the man that's been in the F-14. He's not. He's in a 16. So I guess they figured we're not going to fly the F-14. This is my assumption. I haven't talked to them. I don't know. I know as much as you guys do. Then on the Dragon Squadron side, if we take a look at them, this is the Dragon Squadron side. We saw them in a close loss. I don't remember who they were flying against, but I remember watching them. My memory, guys, don't take this as me discounting certain teams. My memory is atrocious. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. This is, I guess, a side effect of getting hit by a truck. But, to each their own. Anyway, Dragon Squadron had a close match, if I remember correctly, because I remember I couldn't pronounce Raposho's name. I think I've got it right this time. I think it was against ECV 56? Maybe? I don't remember, and I don't want to guess because then that makes me look even worse. But anyway, we got number 15 taken off in all 4 16s. Dragon Squadron is in, I think, 2 18s. Yeah, 2 18s and 2 16s. So let's talk about who's flying. We got Wilk and Mad Vlad for Dragon Squadron there. And then we have Raposho and Aggressor who have already departed. And then if we look at the number 15 side, we have Gunny and Cougar in 16 sitting on the ramp. And then we have Skinner and Beaver that have already departed. And then I guess we have an extra guy in Tolkien sitting down there just in case somebody DC'd. But let's ride along with Wilk as he departs here. Where is he? I think he's at Krimsk. I think that's Krimsk. Guadada, number 15, took off from Guadada. And then I think this is Krimsk on the right. I'm pretty sure it's Guadada versus Krimsk. So Dragon Squadron should be departing from Krimsk. Got to go with my Navy Super Hornets. Ooh, but they're not Super Hornets. They're just Hornets. They're the Legacy Hornets. So how do you feel about that? Because that'd be Marines, right? Who was asking questions? Somebody was asking. Axis was asking what Discord looks like. Jaster got him taken care of. So that reminded me when I brought up Jaster. I need somebody who is willing to mark in-game events using stream markers. Does anybody have any willingness to do that? Alpha Whiskey's wanting to create a highlight video for so we can change how we're broadcasting things on YouTube. Does anybody have any interest in dropping stream markers? And it can be multiple people, if you wish, to drop stream markers. But that will help Alpha be able to go back and look at what timestamp he needs to look at for videos and be able to grab them and cut them up, so on and so forth. Marius asked, why is the in-game resolution so low? That's because we do stuff like this. I run 4 cameras, which means I have to run 4 instances of DCS at the same time because I'm crazy. So that's why the game resolution is set at 720p because it makes PCs cry when you run at 1080 because it's hard. So that's why it's set so low, Marius, is because I run 4 instances. We actually run 4 instances plus TAC view. So we can do this. You guys can see everything. I think it's more, you guys get more information this way. And I know it's not great as far as the resolution, but, we get what we get. And 720p, I think, is enough. I think it's good enough. Unless you're watching on like a 65-inch TV or a projector. Well, then you might have some issues. So the game resolution is 720. The stream is actually in 1080. So you get my face in better resolution, but this is actually in, the games are actually in 720. Because right now I'm running 4, and then hopefully in the next couple days or probably this weekend after I'm not streaming, I'm going to set up some more cameras. My goal is to run 6 to 8 cameras at the same time because I got my 3090, bought it locally from a guy who stood in line for me, and we'll go from there. So Marius, it'll be easier to look when you get used to it. We'll tunnel vision in on things, and we'll talk about things. I'll use the cursor to talk about if you're new to the stream, and point things out. But this is just so that you guys don't necessarily miss anything, and I have a tendency to sometimes not push the correct button. So it's nice that you guys can see, even if it's in a smaller screen, what's going on. But the end game here, when I go to 6 to 8 cameras, is we're going to take a lot of these streams and move them to dedicated cockpit views, so we see the in-cockpit view. I've put in some things in place so that teams submit their private personal tracks to me privately, so they're not shared, because a lot of teams don't want them shared, and I understand why. They submit them to me, and then we get to watch them on stream. So we'll be able to, hopefully, if I'm able to do this, and I am one guy, Brode Fritten says, Moltar, you need to get a crew together to help me with cameras. That is true, but you run into problems with people's dedication in real lives. I'm in a very advantageous situation for this particular scenario that goes on. I'm able to stay home. My wife works. Again, kudos, I guess, of getting hit by a truck and having a brain injury, though I don't know that having a brain injury is something I want necessarily. I'd probably want to be able to work normally, but can't. Anyway, so I do this stuff. But most people, they don't have time to be able to do this. So I've become accustomed to doing a lot of this on my own, or all of it on my own. And I think a lot of you guys understand that I'm just going to fail at it sometimes. And we're going to miss things because I only have 2 arms and I have 1 brain that is behind a lot of times. So we get what we get. But here in the next couple days or week or so, hopefully I'll have more cameras. Now, I don't know that I'll have anything to put on those cameras immediately, but we'll get caught up. So hopefully in about a month, we will get the stuff to be able to put on those cameras, right? So the January matches are where we're going to be looking to get stuff on those cameras. Right now, what we're streaming is from early December. Just be so that everybody's in the know of when these matches are from. This match is late November. The matches that we're going to see in, I think tomorrow is November, and the next week is going to be early December, just so everybody knows. So enough about that. Let's jump in and see what's going on here. So we got Raposo and Aggressor leading the way for Dragon Squadron, and then Skinner and Beaver down here to the south leading the way for number 15. So here is Skinner, and I just saw him break off with his wingman. There's his wingman Beaver, so they're going into a tactical spread right there. Sorry, I was looking at my phone. So they're going into a tactical spread. Multiple 120s coming off from Raposo and Aggressors. That's 2 120s in the air. Skinner launches a 120 of his own in response. Or maybe it wasn't in response. It was just launched at the same time. There it goes. Turn these volume down a smidgen. There we go. Anyway, so there they go. And then Beaver puts one out. So 2 120s in the air. They all came from 16s. So every one of these 16s, instead of having 6 missiles remaining, has 5. And we can see they're doing pretty well as far as airspeed and altitude. They all lofted up to about 50,000 feet, all sitting at about Mach 2.8. Skinner's got to be a little careful here. Let's jump to his view and see if we can see that missile. Where is it? It's not quite. There it is. It's coming in on his aircraft. It's 3 miles away. He defends aggressively, as does everyone else that is in the arena. So there was 1 missile for Skinner, 1 for Beaver, 1 for Raposo, and 1 for Aggressor, and all of them split S and get the hell out of Dodge. Now, talking about that, Dragon Squadron did a much better job of maintaining their altitude. You can see here they're at 25,000 feet, while number 15 dumped all of their altitude and went down to 5,000 feet. Now, if you got to try and plan this stuff. If you're defending and then you dump all your altitude, you've effectively done exactly what your opponent wanted you to do. You have come down from altitude. There go. You are much less of a threat. Okay? Dragon Squadron has maintained their altitude. They know they don't have to climb back to the height that they once were, whereas number 15 has to do exactly that. You can see Skinner's climbing, Beaver's climbing. They have to expend fuel in the thicker air to get back to that higher altitude. So I really like, to close this up, I really like the altitude being maintained during that. They didn't split S, they did more of an oblique during that defensive maneuver. Well done by Dragon Squadron. Really like that. 2 more 120s being launched by Matt Vlad and Wilk, and one is on Gunny, and the other is on Cougar. And it looks like we really need to take a look at what Gunny's got going, because that missile is really close to him. Let's grab it. There it is. So 0.5 miles behind his aircraft, he defended at the last moment. And that is a situation, ladies and gentlemen, that you really need to do the split S. You need to sacrifice some of that altitude to get that energy up, because if you stay high and you go into a horizontal turn, you're not going to be able to keep that energy up. The missile's going to maintain its set energy at Mach almost 3, and it's going to plow into your rear end, and nobody likes an unwanted entry into their backside. Cougar, meanwhile, defends aggressively. Didn't really need to defend that aggressively. He, as well, dumps all of his altitude. So, I think with the aside of Gunny, number 15 could do a bit better of trying to recognize or maybe defend a bit earlier and you maintain their altitude. But enough about that. Another 120. Being launched from Dragon Squadron's Repos from 40,000 feet, just over Mach 1. Aggressor launches one from 40,000 feet, Mach 0.8. I wonder if this is going to come back to haunt these guys later in the match. Altitude is great, but if you are too slow at that altitude, you lose the ability to rapidly convert said altitude into airspeed, and you lose the ability to rapidly change direction. When you're, and this is ground speed, I'm pretty sure. It's not, or sorry, this is indicated. It's not ground speed. No, this is ground speed. This is ground speed. I'm pretty sure. In TAC view. Right? Ground speed. Yeah? Somebody correct me. Chat, get on it. So if you're not fast enough and you get a missile warning late and you're at high altitude, you're as good as dead. So you need to make sure that if you're going to sit this high, you damn well better be fast, right? So we're going to have to see how this continues. Raposo's doing a better job now. He was down at 0.9 Mach. Now he's up to Mach 1.1. I'd like that a bit better. I'd like to see him more at Mach 1.2, but maybe he's trying to take into account the fuel gain. Possibly. Now he's down to Mach 1. Okay, well, he is climbing. Okay, I'll give him that. Another thing that I'm a little worried about in this situation is Dragon Squadron is utilizing far more weapons, and Wilk just launched another one. So there goes another 120 from Wilk, taken off right there. I'm a little concerned about their weapon utilization. They're launching from a long, long way away. Long way away. How far is this? Let me move back. Cursor. How far is this? 30 miles. Now, if number 15 stays at altitude and they don't defend early and they do that lackadaisical defense in the horizontal like I was wanting them to do, but remember, you got to defend early in order to make that happen, okay? If you don't defend early, you're going to get an unwanted stick up your butt, and that's something nobody wants. The poop stick is a bad stick, all right? Nobody wants a poop knife. Yeah, these missiles, as Robsky points out, are dead. I don't even these aren't tracking anybody. I don't think. These are totally trashed. So that's another thing that you got to worry about. When you launch from these distances, Raposo immediately turned around. Didn't support his weapons. They just, and the new missile API or guidance, it's not going to have magic INS anymore. So it doesn't know where to go if you lose his guidance. Maybe it can pick somebody up once it goes pit bull, but in most cases, when you're this far away and you unsupport the missile, it has no idea where to go. And that's exactly what we're seeing out of these two 120s. So, a couple things. One, lack of missile support and the continued utilization of weapons from extreme ranges, I think is going to come down to possibly bite Dragon Squadron later in the match, where they're just not going to have any weapons left. And now we see Aggressor launching another one. Beaver put one out. I think that was Beaver. I'm not a fan of these long launches. I'm really not a fan. Just, in my opinion, you should wait. Just wait. Because then you're allowing your opponent to come closer. Your trailing formation may be able to come in, find them on their radar, zoom in. I know people don't like the zoom in DCS sometimes, but zoom in, get them visually, and then turn off your radar. Now you've got them visually. You're leading your opponent to believe that you don't see them. So now they may fly unintentionally too close to your platform, and you have a much higher PK shot because they think you don't see them. And they're going to put themselves in harm's way because of it. All right. Another thing a little bit worrying, countermeasures expenditure. So we can see a lot of countermeasures being expended here. In these cases, you don't necessarily need to expend any countermeasures at all, right? If you are sure that the missile was launched from a decent ways away and you can take a coordinate action before the missile gets too close, you can bleed it out of energy to the point that you don't need to worry about countermeasures. When you dump countermeasures in this way and you're just dumping them through the turn, most of the time they do nothing, right? They're not going to do anything unless you dump them coming right across the missile's nose and fly right through the notch right when the missile's right looking at it, and then it's going to go dumb for maybe a second or two and maybe pick you back up, or it may continue to be dumb. But when you drop those countermeasures in a split S or an oblique and the missile's far away, you're just wasting them. And you may end up wanting them later in the match when things have a tendency to get closer in range, when fuel starts to become a problem, when radar missiles start to become less likely as people have utilized them early. It's a lot of this comes down to fuel expenditure, weapons expenditure, and countermeasures expenditure. If you don't utilize them and hold on to them accordingly, a lot of times you will get into positions later in the match where you wish you had one of those or all of them to keep you alive or take somebody down. And those situations can mean the difference between winning and losing. So something to be aware of for all of you guys watching. Dragons, F-16's wasting a hell of a lot of fuel retreating at Mach 1.3 when the enemy is so far away. That is true. That is true. However, it depends on what they're trying to do and what their fuel state. They are staying, Robski, very, very high. I mean, look at Aggressor. He's at 46,000 feet. So, Mach 1.3, I think that's okay. As long as he doesn't have a centerline tank on. Let's take a look. Which I don't think he's going to. Where's Aggressor? I don't think he's going to have any tanks. No, he doesn't have any tanks. He has his lights on. Better turn those on. But look at Aggressor. He only has 3 120s left. And these guys haven't gotten within 30 miles of their opponent. Robski, you're probably right. And there goes another one. From 30 miles. 40 miles, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we'll watch this missile. We'll take a look and ride along with it and see how close it gets. So here's the missile that Aggressor just launched. I'm going to get the tac view here so we can... And there goes another one from Raposho. What is Raposho's weapon situation going on like? Where is this fight? There it is. Let's take a look at Raposho. So here's Raposho, and Raposho's down to 2 120s. So both Aggressor and Raposho are down to 2 120s. And the 120 we're riding along with is the one launched by Aggressor. It's still at 1,600 knots, but I don't think it's going to have any impact on the number 15 side. We can see them starting to defend. There is the missile launched by Raposho flying across, and it's headed towards Skinner. Beaver is defending this one. He dumps a lot of countermeasures. I don't think he needed to, and we will see why. This missile would be trashed even if he didn't dump countermeasures. It's still tracking him. But it's not going to have the energy to be able to reach him. And because it doesn't have the energy, there's no reason to utilize your countermeasures. It doesn't have the energy to be able to reach out and touch you at all. So why use them? Use your aircraft's energy state to be able to get away from that missile. Don't use both. Unless you need to notch. Then you need to get rid of that energy in order to make yourself effective, right? That's the trade-off. Dragon Squadron's doing something interesting now. They have this southern two-ship of Wilk and Mad Vlad, and then they have this northern two-ship of Raposo and Aggressor. Number 15 is all together. Now, let's take a look at number 15's current weapons state. Skinner, 5. Okay, not bad. Beaver, 4. Little worse. Cougar, full load. Still has his bags on. But Cougar, I think, may just be sauntering. So this is, I think, what Robski was pointing out in chat, is that Dragon Squadron has been utilizing a lot of fuel to stay fast when they're not being aggressive enough to utilize their energy. They're firing their missiles from so far away that they don't really have a chance anyway at impacting their target. Now, in public play, yeah, maybe these have a chance. In public play, your opponent might fly headlong into this. This isn't public play. This is SATAL, and some of the best pilots in the world fly here at a competitive level. So having the thought that a missile is going to impact your opponent a lot of times from these ranges is just absurd. It may happen every once in a while. Sometimes you may get lucky as somebody may be tunnel visioned on something else. But look at this. I mean, these 120s, look how far away Gunny is from his incoming threat. 7 miles. And that missile is trashed. And is Gunny even in gate? Let's take a look. Is he in gate? No. Gunny's not even in gate. He's just sauntering along, cruising, not a care in the world, still has his tanks on, still has 6 missiles left. 5 missiles left. So him and the majority of his group have a ton of their weapons remaining. And I'm really worried about the state of Dragon Squadron, both fuel and weapons-wise, as this match continues to progress. Are they getting themselves into a very, very bad situation by not having the stores remaining to be able to fight? If you don't have the stores, guys, you're not going to be able to win. Another 120 coming off from Wilk. That one looks like it's going to be on Beaver. Maybe it's on a hot contact. I can't tell. But look at all of the blue 120s from Dragon Squadron. Look at all of those. If these were SD-10s, PL-12s, or Phoenix, I may be able to get behind them. But they're not, because the PL-12 or the SD-10 and the Phoenix have a better ability to be effective at range. MK-60, 30 miles, go for it. Thing's going to hit you like a freight train if you don't defend. Thing's going to burn for 60 seconds. But these situations, right, where you're launching from these ranges with 120s, they just don't have the motor burn time, and Dragon Squadron's launching platforms don't have the energy to be able to impart on the missile to make them effective. 120 now being launched from Cougar, and we see our first dip under 20 miles. So now we're down to 15 miles. We just saw I saw Gunny dump his tanks. And Dragon Squadron defends easily that 120. So this match is a showcase in SATAL of how easily these missiles are defended and defeated when launched from over 10 miles, right? If you're below 30,000 feet, very easy to defeat an incoming threat. As long as you're not at like 0.2 Mach or something ridiculous. Durado, supporting the missile has no effect on when the missile will go pitbull. But yeah, that's true. It'll go pitbull, I think, at 8 miles, 6 miles, I think is how DCS has it. I think. What's going on up here to the south? So we have 2 engagements that we need to keep track of. We got this southern engagement. We got this northern engagement. Really, this whole engagement, whole battle area is being specified and dictated by Dragon Squadron. I mean, they've got a 2-ship up here and a 2-ship down south. number 15 is doing a great job of staying close together and not getting separated. Their ability to provide mutual support, we need to pause this. Their ability to provide mutual support is going to be far greater than what Dragon Squadron is going to be. Yes, these guys can provide mutual support. Aggressor and Post Show can do it, and Mad Vlad and Wilkes can do it. But what happens if number 15 decides to push just one of these two ships? In my eyes, bad things are going to happen. However, I think a bad thing is about ready to happen to Gunny. He is not defending. Let's look at what's going on with Gunny. Gunny is right here on camera 2, okay? He is flying virtually headlong into this missile. Missile's above him. Where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. Let's see if we can get it from the missile's point of view. Where's Gunny? It's right here. Missile. Oh, it's coming down from like right above him. All right, let me see if I can get it. There it is. All right, so there's the missile. Let's go to split screen. Missile on the left, Gunny on the right. Gunny is defending, and that missile is 2 miles away, flying at 1,300 knots. Gunny is about to get gunned down. I have a feeling. Here we go. So we're playing. He's not fast enough to be able to out-energy this. I think this is going to ramrod him. It's 900, 800 knots, and there it goes, and just plows into the top of Gunny's aircraft, and Gunny is the first casualty. So that was a missile fired from closer range. Let's pause, and I want to take a look at how close that was fired from. That was fired from, where was that fired from? That was fired from about here. So that was about 10 miles. Raposo, that was somewhere in there, maybe 12 miles, 13, somewhere in there. But Gunny didn't defend aggressively, and he didn't have any airspeed. So, and on top of that, as Savior points out, he may have not have had an RWR warning because of how high that missile came in. He may have gotten it very late. Maybe it was in a bank turn, because the RWR, guys, in DCS, as we hit play here, in DCS, and I think in real jets, isn't all-encompassing. It's a cone that wraps around the sides of your aircraft. It doesn't cover above or below your aircraft, unlike the A-10 with its missile warning system that detects heat plumes. The RWR doesn't. It's a cone that goes around the outsides. All right? So if the missile is right above him or a threat is right above you, your RWR is not going to see it at all. It's just not. Flat out. So you'll get no warning before you get taken to Pound Town. Skinner now exchanging missiles between himself and Raposo. And we've got Cougar and Beaver now down here to the south. Cougar is head on with, looks like Mad Vlad and Wilk. And that one's coming in on Wilk. Wilk not really defending. He's starting to defend. They're exchanging missiles. Let's look at Wilk's screen. So there's the 125 miles away. He launched a 120 back at Cougar. Don't think either of those are going to be effective. Let's look and see what Cougar's doing. So here's Cougar's point of view. Cougar aggressively defending. He's down low. No tanks anymore. Full gate. The F-16, sorry, that's not Cougar. This is Cougar. The F-16, when it gets low and it's in burner like that, just guzzles gas. It has no concept of what fuel economy is. Cougar now recommitting against Mad Vlad inside 2 miles. Here comes the 120. There it goes. And let's watch that as it ingresses. 120 coming in on Cougar. Mad Vlad's in trouble. Cougar, I think, maybe able to line of sight those. Mad Vlad gets hit, and Cougar line of sights the missiles. Excellent defensive flying from Cougar. Gets a shot inside 4 miles. Pause this so we don't miss anything. I think he recognized that he had terrain. Okay, so let's look at Cougar. Let's take a look at his terrain that he's got. Cougar recognized, hey, I've got terrain that I can hide in. He recognized that Mad Vlad was low. He utilized that situation to get in close. Okay? Utilized the situation to get in close, so we can actually revisit this on TAC view as we back up here. Let's go back on TAC view. So here is Cougar, right here. And we can ride along with his cockpit view. So here is Cougar's cockpit view coming back into Mad Vlad. I think he's recognized that Mad Vlad is low. They do have AWACS, so he will be able to see him through PPLI and through on the SA page. So he recognizes that Mad Vlad is low. He sees he has terrain, right? He's waiting. Launches now, and then dips behind the cover. So when you recognize that you have cover, you can better utilize... Let's back up. You can better utilize the distance because you can get in closer, thereby giving your missile a higher PK shot and totally trashing the enemy missiles. So Cougar, hats off to him making that happen, recognizing the terrain and getting the job done. So Cougar has equalized this at 3 pilots apiece. And meanwhile, I have just recognized that Raposho up here to the north is in for a bad time and about ready to receive the all-inclusive unwanted facial. Where is that missile? There it is, 1 mile away. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. That missile is 1 mile away. Raposho's at 400 knots, 21,000 feet. He is all but dead. However, it's not a huge loss to Dragon Squadron because Raposho has no missiles left at all. He is completely out of the boomsticks. This missile was fired by Skinner, so maybe Raposho's just saying, guys, I give up the ghost. I can't contribute anymore. And just flies headlong into this missile. And it takes him down. Now, the lights maybe were a beacon, maybe made the missile have an easier time finding Raposho. It doesn't. But make sure you turn off those lights in the future, ladies and gentlemen. They can give you away. So we're down to a 3v2 now. And Aggressor and Dragon Squadron, along with Wilk, are completely separated. Really, really worried about this situation. Cougar now launching a 120 onto Wilk. Wilk is going to... Looks like he's going to be able to defend that. Yeah, he's going to be able to defend that. Okay, so here's Wilk's point of view. 120 is 1.5 miles off his right wing. We can see it splash into the water. The question's going to be, how quickly do Beaver and Cougar... Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Beaver and Cougar recommit into this fray. Give you guys some better camera angles here so we can ride behind these aircraft. There we go. Okay, so Cougar is on camera 2. So let's take a look at what's going on with him. He is flying and just passing his wingman. So there goes Skinner. Skinner is hot on Wilk. Okay, Skinner is right here on camera 4. So Skinner is coming in on Wilk. Skinner is sitting at 5,000 feet. If we look at Wilk's point of view, Wilk is at 1,000 feet. And Skinner actually breaks away from this engagement. So Skinner doesn't try and push his luck in this 1v1 situation. I think he recognized, hey, I don't want to take a 50-50 shot. I want to wait for my friendlies to get in here and turn this from a 50-50 maybe into a 90-10, a much higher PK situation. Wilk now launches an AIM-9. I don't think Wilk has any 120s left. He doesn't. He only has a single AIM-9. He's now defending, popped a couple flares, I'm guessing to try and get away from those incoming phantom AIM-9s that sometimes can jump out of the weeds and poke you in the butt unseen because you don't IR missiles, no radar warnings, and sometimes people will launch. Maybe that's what he thought Skinner did there. But I think the person we need to watch is Cougar. Cougar is right here, just launches a 120 in on Wilk, and Wilk is running. So Wilk is running away, and that 120 is coming in from high to low. Is it going to be able to touch Wilk? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Oh! Oh, is he going to run with it? No! He gets taken down. So Cougar recognizes, hey, I've got the airspeed. Let's pause it, make sure we don't miss anything up north. I've got the airspeed to unleash the boomstick, the bigger lip of the Lincoln Logs, and be able to try and make something happen. And that missile had barely, just barely, enough energy to reach out and get Wilk there. So great job by Cougar. That was his third kill of the match. And now we've got a 1v1 situation up here to the north between Skinner and Aggressor. So Skinner went down to the south, broke off his engagement with Wilk. Got Wilk to fire an AIM-9, honestly, and commit hot. But those are the situations, guys. You don't need to shoot. And Skinner epitomized that. Didn't shoot, drew Wilk into the north, and then by the time Wilk realized he was in an oh shit moment, turned around, but it was too late and Cougar reached out and took him down. So this is the next engagement. Skinner coming in against Aggressor. Let's take a look at this. So Skinner is in here with Aggressor. So here's Aggressor from Dragon Squadron. We're going to go to split screen and take a look at this. We're going to hit play now. And Aggressor from Dragon Squadron's on left. Skinner is on the right. I'll give you guys this view so we can see it from the map. Aggressor's in this canyon. Skinner is in this canyon. And they're going to come virtually right in front of one another. But they don't see each other. I think they can see each other on data link, but they don't see each other visually. They fly right over top one another. Beaver now coming in. Let's grab Beaver's point of view. Beaver coming in from the south here. Let's go to Tri-View. So here's Tri-View. Beaver is on camera 3. And Beaver is now merging with Aggressor. He doesn't shoot either. Flares, though, recognizing that there's a potential threat. But the one to watch, ladies and gentlemen, is Cougar, who has unleashed another 120 coming in onto Aggressor. It flies right over a hill, right over the trees, and oh, no, it hit Aggressor. It did hit Aggressor. A little bit of desync, but Aggressor gets smashed and taken down. And Aggressor, the last casualty for Dragon Squadron, is eliminated. And Cougar eliminated virtually everyone from the Dragon Squadron side. Cougar had 3, count them, 3 frags in that match, or in that round. Man, Cougar making it happen. Cougar actually used to fly, for anybody that didn't know, Cougar used to fly with a mouse and keyboard. I don't know how he did it. Didn't have track IR either. I had no idea how to do it. But, as Korax points out, Cougar was one of those guys that saved all of his missiles. Virtually every single one of Cougar's missiles, I didn't see any that missed, hit their target. Masterpox, I think in real life you can at least hear the other plane. I don't know. I don't think you can. I mean, maybe, but I would doubt it. Because that would mean that your own aircraft would be ridiculously loud in your cockpit. So I don't think you could hear that much, actually. That's an assumption. But yeah, they'll be switching sides for next round for sure. So let's fast forward here. These guys have to RTB. Now, Dragon Squadron did get 1 kill, so I got to give them credit for that. They did take, who'd they take down? Gunny. That was the first kill of the match. And Beaver ejects. Beaver may have been out of fuel. Are they making him RTB? I can't tell. I think they're having RTB. So Beaver ejected. He was probably out of fuel. But what a round from Cougar. What about Bob? Maybe. I don't know. I've never flown a real fighter jet. I don't know how easy it is to see things. As long as number 15 is able to land back at Godada, and for anybody that's new to this, teams do have to land, and the reason they have to land is because fuel is part of air combat. So that's a big thing. We don't want people just coming in, shooting the other person down or the other team down and then running out of fuel. That doesn't showcase anything. Just showcases who's better at shooting missiles. So in this case, we're trying to be more inclusive in what makes the best pilots. And fuel is definitely part of being a fighter pilot. If you don't make it back to base, you lost. You're dead. Or your aircraft's gone. I mean, maybe you ejected. I don't know. But it's not gonna work. So they have to make it back. The other team can say, no, you don't need to land. Let's move on to the next round. So that is a possibility to try and speed things up, just so people are aware. That's why sometimes teams just bounce on out of here. But you are required to land unless the other team says you don't. Skinner is going to put it down on the runway. There he goes. So no issue there. Number 15 closes out this round. Skinner doing a little bit of a wheelie there. Closes out this round. 3 pilots remaining. Well, 2 pilots. Beaver, I think, ran out of fuel. 2 pilots remaining. And Cougar, man, showing dominance. Getting 3 kills. Will he have the same showing coming up in round 2? Or will Dragon Squadron come out and be able to equalize us? I don't know. I don't know. That was a pretty dominant showing, especially by Cougar. Well, let's jump back to the Supercut, and then we'll have round 2 when you guys get back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are sitting on the deck at Guadada with Dragon Squadron. How did you guys think that round went? That was chaotic. It went fast, and Cougar slaughtered everybody. I don't think he flies with a mouse and keyboard anymore. I think he's on a joystick. But man, I've flown with him a lot, and he's a hell of a pilot, and he made those shots count. So Dragon Squadron now departing Raposo and Aggressor taking off, and it looks like the two-ship of Mad Vlad and who's his wingman? Wilk will be departing shortly after that. On the flip side, looking at camera 2, Skinner and Beaver leading the way for number 15, and then Cougar and Gunny will be taking off shortly after them. Tulkin is just sitting on the ramp in case somebody sees, which is smart. There is a 20-minute timer where if you don't take off in 20 minutes, the other team is free to take off. And if you don't take off shortly after that and they cap the bubble for 5 minutes, well, they win. So good on them. But what can Dragon Squadron, what could they have done to have a better outcome during that match? Well, my first thought is weapons utilization and management, possibly fuel management as well, because we don't know what their fuel state was late in that match. Maybe they were almost out of fuel, and that's why they weren't defending very aggressively, so on and so forth. I don't know. That's one of those variables that we're not really sure. Rage from Task Force Trident is looking at trying to get us those variables to be able to look into with the screen overlay. I've had a bunch of people say, hey, Moltar, I think I can do a screen overlay for you, and then I never hear from him again. It's the bane of being me and SATAL is we get a lot of people with grandiose ideas, and then nothing happens, which is just something I've learned to contend with. And we're fine. We've been fine without it. But an overlay, guys, that we could see missile loadouts, we could see gun rounds, we could see fuel, we could see the pilot still alive, all of that. Think Counter-Strike competitive overlays, what I'm trying to model this after. Would be awesome. Would be awesome. But haven't had it yet. It's been a couple years. Haven't had it yet. Cameras, I can do on my own. I have no idea how to do the overlay. So I haven't been able to do it. And here we are. Here we are. Beaver forming up on Skinner's wing. Overlay would be really neat. It would be. It definitely would be. In due time. In due time. We've gotten a lot of stuff. A lot of things have gotten better from SATAL since we first started. Oh, he's cute. My wife and I are trying to adopt another husky. Because we lost our big one. He's 14 years old. We lost him a week before Christmas, so that's been rough. But we're trying to adopt another husky. We have 2 now, and the pack just doesn't feel full. Feels like something's missing, and obviously our big one, Alaska, isn't here anymore. So we're trying to adopt another one. So that's what's going on. So she's sending me messages about one. Let me see if I can. Can you guys see that? Let me go big camera. Boop. Not big camera, this camera. So there's Red right there sending me messages. We're trying to get him through an organization called Tasia Blue. But we'll see what happens. My wife's finding a bunch of them. Anyway, jump back to the match. Get rid of my big face. So Dragon Squadron, I think, needs to have better munitions and stores management. That's the biggest thing I think that hurt them. Hold on to their weapons until late. Hold them. Wait for them. Then pounce on them. That's what Cougar did. Cougar was the pinnacle of what you should do. He waited, wasn't shooting. He had all of his weapons. And there's Cougar. It's like I talk about him, then he comes out of nowhere. He waited, had all of his weapons left. So then in those situations, guys, if you're in late, you have all of your weapons, you can dictate the fight. Let's say you're in a head-on incursion, one-on-one, say 12 miles away. Cougar has all of his weapons against somebody that only has 1 or 2. Cougar launches a 120, even 15 miles. Guy doesn't respond and launch back because he only has 1 or 2 missiles left. Doesn't respond. Cougar stays hot. Guy has to defend. Then Cougar sees the guys start to come back in. Cougar launches another missile, forces him on the defensive again. This whole time, think Cougar is closing the gap. Closer and closer and closer and closer. Guy's still defending. Cougar's still hot. Until it gets to the point that Cougar is so close that missile, the last missile that is launched, is going to kill him. And the guy that Cougar's shooting at, I'm just using Cougar as an example, never gets the opportunity to respond because he doesn't have the weapons available. That's just one scenario where holding on to your weapons allows you so much more room later in the fight. It allows you so much more strategies to be available. There's so many more avenues that can be taken. If you don't have the weapons, Might as well be on the sideline. Anyway, off my soapbox. So that's Dragon Squadron's, I think, biggest thing is weapons management. What could number 15 do a bit better? I think they kind of got lucky in a sense of they were pushed into a ball and Dragon Squadron didn't seem to have the weapons left to be able to capitalize on the multi-directional press. If Dragon Squadron had more weapons available and could have forced number 15 onto more of a defensive, being closer, that could have been disastrous for number 15. Disastrous. So I think number 15 got pretty lucky there in that respect. F-15EX, 20 AMRAAMs. The missile boats for the... I'm assuming, and I've said this before, that those F-15s that carry that number of AMRAAMs are just transports for F-35s and F-22s to get more weapons into the arena. That's how I see that. There's launching platforms for the 120Ds being launched from other aircraft or targeted from other aircraft. That's how I've always seen that. I don't think any aircraft has any business with 20 AMRAAMs on it. That's a lot. Its ability to fly is going to be rough. As long as you can fire them, that's true, but I think the ability for the stealth guys, they're the targeting systems. The F-15s are just there to launch them. .120 being launched from long range from Skinner. I think that could have been from Beaver. I think that was actually from Beaver onto Aggressor. And we'll see how that one goes. This has been one of the only long-range missiles launched from number 15, or long-range missile launched from this level. Aggressor's not doing anything yet. He's sitting at 40,000 feet, Mach 0.9, so if he gets caught and gets that missile warning, I think he's as good as dead. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Aggressor, you need to do something. He's doing something now. There's the missile, 5 miles, but I think that's far too late. He doesn't have the airspeed to be able to get away from this. His only avenue would be to possibly vertical notch, and that missile's still at Mach 2, closing half mile, face mile. Aggressor gets taken down with the 40-mile AMRAAM. Oh, I go on these preaching trails of don't launch long, and then Beaver launches long and kills somebody. Oh, man. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. So Beaver gets the first kill there and puts Dragon Squadron in a really, really bad spot right off the get-go. So now, not only are they down around, they're also down a pilot in a round that they have to win. Oh, no. So why was that so effective on that shot? It's not that it was more effective, Alpha. It was because Aggressor didn't defend early enough. You have to think ahead of your airplane. You have to anticipate that when you're flying at 40,000 feet, that there is going to be an incoming missile coming at your face. And you need to make sure that you are acting accordingly. Flying headlong into an adversary at 20 to 30 miles at Mach 0.8 at 40,000 feet is not something you want to be doing. If Aggressor was at Mach 1.3 or 1.4, he probably would have been fine. His downfall there was that he was way too slow. Way too slow to be that high. If you're going to be that high, your ass better be scooting across the ground. When does he get the warning? I think it's at 8 miles, but a lot of it's also dependent on was the missile outside of his RWR scan cone while ingressing, because it was obviously above him. So how long of that flight was the missile outside of his RWR? Or was it at all? I don't know. But usually it's 7 or 8 miles, I think. Somebody in chat, I know Savior's here, Robski's here, they'll probably correct me, but I think it's 7 or 8 miles. But again, his downfall was that he was way too slow. The other thing that we need to not assume is that we don't know if his RWR was on. There have been countless times where I'm flying in an F-16 and I forget to turn my RWR on. And I'm like, man, I'm flying around here, nobody's shooting at me, and then wham! I take one to the dome. And then I think, did I turn my RWR on? Nope. What an idiot. Marius, so do you always just defend because there could be? You have to always assume that there is a threat. If you don't, odds are you're going to die. Or you're gambling with luck, right? So you need to always assume and put yourself in situations and give yourself every opportunity to be able to get away from an incoming threat if it could be there. Like, you need to have a no-fly line at a certain range or a certain distance from your opponent that you don't cross. Because if you cross that and there was a missile launched at you, now it's undefendable and you're just going to die. Unless you can notch it. But at 40,000 feet, odds are you're probably not going to notch it unless you can vertically notch it. And that's, again, playing with luck. So I talk about this a lot. You got to fly ahead of your airplane. You got to be and think ahead of your plane. If you don't and you're just reactionary, bad things are going to happen. The best pilots are the ones that anticipate and are able to think ahead of what is actually going on in the battlesphere. And everybody gets there. Something that I also need to point out is that not everybody that's flying in SATAL has the same level of experience. So some of these guys, especially from number 15, Cougar's been doing this for a long time. I don't know how long the Dragon Squadron's been flying it. They're new to SATAL, so I'm not entirely sure. But you need to be thinking ahead of your airplane. Borchi says 30 seconds. I like to think in trying to dictate from a much higher level on, like, not as precise, but trying to dictate the flow as a flight lead, the flow of how you want the match or the enemy to, your adversary to be flying. If you can do that, then you're in control. You want to be in control. If you're not in control, that means your enemy's in control and you're giving him all the advantages. So, Moltar's thoughts. 3 pilots remaining for Dragon Squadron. Still 4 remaining for number 15. We have seen far less weapons come off the rails. AIM 9, AIM 7. That's interesting. Is that because that F-18 is carrying AIM 7s and 6 AIM 120s? That's possible. That's definitely possible. Taking a drink. Yeah, everybody cheer for that AIM 7. It's already down. Look at the poor guy. He's trying so hard. He's already down to Mach 1.1. God, what a shit missile. Borchi, what I'm talking about is you want to go in with a game plan and you want to be trying to dictate. So the further you get out, the more broad your thoughts and steps need to be. The closer you get to real time, the more concise in actions need to be on the actual fight. That's how I've always thought about it. Because obviously, precise things are going to be very difficult to predict after past 30 seconds. 30 seconds is even a long time. Multiple 120s now being launched by Raposho onto Gunny. Is Gunny even gonna... Gunny's defending now. Let's take a look at Gunny. He may be in a bit of trouble here. Those 120s have got some gas left. Where are they? There they are. So here's Gunny's point of view. 2 miles, still cooking. 1 mile left. Gunny is still, he's serpentining, which I really like, but his serpentines aren't broad enough to be effective. Oop! Okay, so that missile, let's talk about that. So I have said a lot that there's no proximity fuse in DCS. That missile that just hit Gunny is a perfect example of proximity fusing. From my understanding of how proximity fusing works in DCS. That missile detonated away from Gunny's aircraft. I don't think he took any damage. Let's see. That's Cougar, not Gunny. Here's Gunny. Boom. I don't think he took any damage. Did he take any damage? No, he didn't take any damage. So that's the downfall of, I think, of proximity fusing and how it works in DCS. That was a proximity fuse detonated 120. Did it do anything? Are those... No, those aren't bullet holes. Okay, so no damage. So his serpentine caused the proximity fuse to detonate, giving him no damage. He didn't exploit. He was just doing serpentines. If he wanted to bleed that missile out of energy, those serpentines need to be much broader, and he needs to be faster. He's only at Mach 0.8. He's not going to cause the missile to be aggressive and in its trajectory inputs to bleed enough energy. He's Mach 0.8. You need to be at like Mach 1.2, 1.3 to be able to do that, to do this effectively. So those missiles are reaching out and touching him, but not touching him to a point that he's going to go down. So Gunny does get hit, but the proximity fuse detonated and didn't take down his aircraft. Man, that AIM-7 down to a paltry 0.5 Mach and falling. What a pitiful missile that is. Yeah, Orchie, you're right. You're right. Raposo's getting a little isolated here, but much more patience coming from both teams. Much more patience coming from both teams. Again, Dragon Squadron. These long launches. I'm not a fan. There goes a third one. How far are these? 30 miles. Not a fan. These things are just going to be trashed. You can see these guys are already thinking ahead. They're way far away from an incoming threat, 15 miles, and they're already defending. This is what I mean by flying ahead of your airplane. Skinner's already cold, and he's not even getting that missile warning yet. So these guys are anticipating that these missiles are coming, and they saw them launch, either from a pod or zooming in. So, or seeing contrails or what have you. But they're anticipating that threats are headed their way. So well done. I would have liked to see Dragon Squadron continue and be aggressive here. No reason to turn around unless they're also being anticipatory and thinking, hey, there could be threats, which all the power to them. That's definitely not a bad thing to be doing. But both teams being much more patient coming into this round. Dragon Squadron knowing that if they lose this one, they're done for the match. And I guess number 15 is flying like they did in round one. They were much more patient until it seemed Dragon Squadron was encountering stores issues. So I can't really fault them from there. Wilk launches a 120. That one is from... Can't tell who it's on. Looks like 25 miles. How fast is Wilk? 0.9 Mach. If you're going to take these shots, you got to be faster. Got to be faster. And probably got to be higher. 23,000 feet, high enough that is not. Gunny responds 22,000 feet, Mach 1. That's a better shot, but still not great. 20 miles, just hold it. Just hold on to those, because these are just trashed missiles. Just wait. If I can emphasize anything from this match, ladies and gentlemen, it is the need for patience and the ability to wait. I mean, you can see he gets that missile warning, immediately defends, and those missiles aren't going to catch him. No way. And even Mad Vlad here, who's not overly fast, is going to have a very easy time getting away from this 120. It's trying. It's really trying, but it's not going to be able to make it. It's going to run out of steam right at the last moment, and it just doesn't have the juice flowing over those fins to be able to touch Mad Vlad and actually gets line of sighted. So if you take one thing away, patience. Dragon Squadron now on the offensive here, down from the south. Number 15 now recommitting. Skinner launches a 120. and then defends aggressively. He may be defending aggressively because he may have gotten picked up by one of these old missiles. That's definitely a possibility. This 120, even though it's 0.5 Mach, you don't know that it's that fast. You think, oh, I'm getting surprised by a missile that I didn't know was there, so I need to act accordingly. And that's what Skinner was doing. It's not that he was just dumping countermeasures for the hell of it. I'm pretty sure that 120 at 0.5 Mach jumped out and caught his attention, and he is reacting to it. So can't fault him for that. This is his missile coming on a Raposo. It's not going to play a factor. Raposo is going to be easily able to get away from that one. And Beaver launches one on Wilk. It was a very slow missile. He's got to be careful if he doesn't. Is he going to turn? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Is he going to fly into that? Sorry, guys. One of the cameras got a step ahead. Let me fix it. There we go. Just fixing cameras. Okay, so Wilk was able to get away from that missile. It line of sighted, flew into the ground. I was a little worried that he was going to turn directly into it. That was worrisome. But anyway, let's hit play. Continue this. But now Wilk has recommitted. Wilk flying just over treetop level. Beaver is recommitting up to the north. Let me give you, or you guys already have that view. So Beaver is recommitting up to the north. Wilk and Beaver are now in for a head-on incursion 12 miles away. Let's jump to Beaver's perspective. As to Wilk's perspective, Beaver is above Wilk. Beaver is in a pretty good firing position, Mach 1.25 at 15,000 feet. Oh, no. Wilk, I think, made the cardinal sin and waited to get a launch off, and he's not fast enough, I think, to be able to out-energy this. He needs to dump speed, get into a notch, and he doesn't, and gets taken to school. 120 smashes through his canopy, and he is the second casualty of this matchup. Let's pause it and take a look at the TAC view and see what exactly happened there. Back it up here. So here's Beaver coming in, 11,000 feet, Mach 1.25, launches from 9 miles. That's not a bad shot. Now, if Wilk had defended immediately, he probably would have been okay. But he made the cardinal sin of waiting. He waited even 1 or 2 seconds. 1 or 2 seconds, and it was all it took to not have enough energy or time to be able to get away from this missile. He tries to get into the notch, but you can see the missile is correcting its flight trajectory, and it's just off that 9 line, and he's not able to notch it and just gets smashed. Cardinal sin waited too long. And then I think we may have Mad Vlad. He's in a bit of trouble here now. So Mad Vlad got launched on by Cougar. Looking at this one comes from just over Mach 1 from 10 miles, 6,000 feet onto 9,000 feet. This is an even trade, but you can see how aggressively Cougar is defending in this situation and how woeful Mad Vlad's defense is in this situation. So Cougar is already cold. He's over Mach 1, already full cold, while Mad Vlad is going for the notch. I don't know how I feel about this. Probably want to be slower to make this notch effective. Definitely want to be lower. He's almost co-altitude with this missile. If that missile gets to co-altitude with him, the notch isn't going to be tough. He's got to be treetop level to be able to make sure that he's below that missile. So let's switch to Mad Vlad's perspective. Make sure we don't miss any of this. Where is he? Here he is. And I'm going to grab the missile too, because I don't know what happens here. Here is the missile coming in on Mad Vlad. And let's take a look at, where is it? Split screen. Where is that missile? There it is. Okay. Zoom the attack view out. Here we go. So here comes the missile. It's 2 miles away. It's at Mach 1.6. Mile away now. Oh, Mad Vlad, don't turn back into it. Oh, it just doesn't have enough energy to be able to stay with him. Okay, so he got away from that one. He's okay. But now he's coming in against Gunny. Gunny has launched another 120 onto Mad Vlad, and Mad Vlad is not defending. Here is the missile coming on a Mad Vlad. Mad Vlad is head on with this missile. He's now trying to defend in full gate. He needs to be dumping his gear, dumping his flaps, trying to slow down to be able to get in the notch, and he's notched. Still has all of his tanks on. That's going to be making notching very difficult. He's trying to notch now or trying to out-energy the missile, but no chaff, no countermeasures, and this thing's going to come through the barrel roll and come into the bottom of his aircraft, and Mad Vlad gets taken down. There was just no dedication or commitment to one type of defensive maneuvering, and Mad Vlad gets hammered. Rapolo now, let's pause it and take another look at what happened to Mad Vlad. But Rapolo is now all by himself in a 1v4. So backing up to Mad Vlad here. Missile comes off from Gunny at 10 miles, Mach 1, Mach 0.7 for Mad Vlad. And we can see from Mad Vlad here, there's just no commitment to one type of defensive maneuvering. He thinks, notch. No, we're not going to notch. We're going to turn back into the missile, and then we're going to try and barrel roll it. But by that point, his speed is so slow, the distance that he can cover for the barrel roll isn't great enough to force the missile to bleed enough energy. So I just don't think that that's what played into his downfall again. So backing up, he's so slow. He's Mach 0.6. So slow right here. He doesn't have the airspeed to make the missile try and turn sharp enough to expend enough energy to miss him. And that's Mad Vlad gets taken down. And now Raposo is the only one remaining. He's all by himself at 30,000 feet, which isn't a bad place to be. However, if you don't have the situational awareness, which I think is what's going to happen to Raposo because he doesn't have anybody committing to the PPLI tracks, and you guys can't see, not showing. Okay, we're going to back up here because I wasn't showing you guys what I was talking about. Anyway, so here comes the missile. You guys could hear me talk about it. He just doesn't commit into any type of defensive maneuvering. He goes into a notch, decides notch isn't what we're going to try and do, goes into a barrel roll, but by the time he does the barrel roll, he doesn't have the airspeed, and this is what I was talking about, doesn't have the airspeed to force the missile to make an aggressive maneuver, enough maneuver to bleed all of its remaining airspeed or its energy to be able to not make that turn. Okay, that's what happens there, or what happened there. It's always like this. Isn't this intended? High altitude. What? What does that mean? Is that an insult? I don't know what you mean. So now Raposo is all by himself. Beaver's coming in from 7,000 feet. Cougar's coming in. So we're going to look at both of those guys. Here's Cougar's aircraft. And then we're going to grab Beaver's air. Nope. We're going to grab Beaver's aircraft. Beaver is here. And then we're going to grab Raposo's aircraft, which is here. Raposo still has his lights on. Don't know how I feel about that. But here we go. So Cougar is on camera 1. Beaver's on camera 2. Raposo on camera 3. And then TAC View on camera 4 as these guys ingress. 120 coming from Cougar. Raposo is now defending. He's launched a 120. He has no 120s left. Still has his lights on. 120 coming from Beaver. So 2 120s on to Raposo. He's full defensive maneuvering now. Missiles are low. 4 miles behind him. Beaver's missiles trying to catch him. Trying to run him down. Cougar is at Mach 1.2 now. Trying to catch up to him. Beaver's behind him Mach 1. Raposo is at Mach 1.3. But he's in a really bad position because he can't really recommit into this, because if he recommits, he's going to give Cougar the shot he needs, and Cougar can see the contrails. He's tunnel visioned onto Raposo. He recognizes he's the only one remaining, and Raposo's in like this left oblique, shortening the closure distance for Cougar. Just giving Cougar the closure that he needs. Cougar now coming up on Mach 1.5 at a distance of 7 miles. Cougar still has 4 missiles remaining. I'd like to see Cougar launch now. Force Raposo onto the defensive. And then allow for an easier closure for the kill from Cougar. There goes 120 from 5 miles. This one's going to force Raposo into a full defensive maneuvering, and he is diving now. Cougar staying above him, which is where I like to see him. Where is Raposo? Raposo's on camera 3. Let's see if we can see that missile coming in. And where is it? I don't see it. And there it is. And it takes down Raposo. So the missile launch from 5 miles is all it took from Cougar. Cougar gets his 4th kill of the match and takes down Raposo. Well done. And man, again, after the last Dragon Squadron combatant is executed, number 15 still has 4 pilots in the air because Gunny didn't get taken down. He got hit. Man, oh man. All right, let's grab some other cameras. There we go. That's these guys RTB. So they do have to RTB back to Krimsk. I don't know how far away that is. How far away is Krimsk? Not too far. Not too far. But what'd you guys think of that match? That was a rout there in round 2. Now, it was unfortunate that Gunny got hit and then didn't go down. That was unfortunate because that very well could have changed the fate for Dragon Squadron, but sometimes DCS is going to DCS and you're just not going to get the kill you want. It's happened to all of us playing in multiplayer. Sometimes you can hear a missile detonate behind you and you're like, oh, I didn't take any damage. Well, look at me. And you keep on trucking on. I like number 15's decision to not take an F-14. I really like that decision. I think that played into their favor. I think it is much more advantageous for their playstyle. Number 15 is hugely aggressive, and I think the F-16 perfectly fits that mold. The F-14, while it's great at medium range, and it is great at close range, the Phoenix is very easy to see. It's very easy to notch if you know what you're doing. And now that here in December, we're to a point that the Phoenix, I don't think, has Magic INS anymore, it is even easier to defeat. So I think the decision of number 15 to move away from the Tomcat was a decent one. I don't think it was doing them great work in their previous matches. I think this was a great showcase of the aggressiveness that number 15 illustrates in most of their matches, and they did a great job. Dragon Squadron did a great job as well. I think their downfall, Dragon Squadron, if they took anything away from this match, I hope that it was that they need to manage their stores a bit better. But I think we're going to see great things from them. Dragon Squadron's a newcomer. Number 15 is that they used to be ITGC. They're a bunch of veterans. They've been doing this for a long time. So Dragon Squadron, don't get down on this. You're up against some of the best. So great match from both teams. Great match from both teams. Let's fast forward this. I don't know if they're going to have to land. But they are RTB. But chat, what were your thoughts? I prefer flying against 16s than 14s, even the 14 limitation. It is scary, but if you know how to defeat it, you can do pretty well. You just got to be really comfortable notching. You got to be comfortable in the notch. If you don't trust the notch, you're going to have a bad time. You got to trust your notch, or the telephone pole is going to rout you. And that's what we saw. Or not what we saw. That's what'll happen. Trust the notch. So 2 guys have disconnected. Beaver and Cougar are the only 2 remaining. We're at time 7 playback here, just RTB and back to Krimsk, so we're not wasting anybody's time. Cougar looks to be rejoining with Beaver. And look, Cougar still has 3 missiles remaining. Beaver still has 2 remaining. So they could have kept fighting. I don't know what their fuel state was, but they did a very good job of managing their weapons payload. There's Krimsk. Coming in on finals. Can see him. Yeah, they're lining up. They should make it back just fine. There's Krimsk. They're going to do they're just going to do an overhead. Next match while we're watching these. Harpia ECV 56. No, but I will look at that right after this match. I think I said that I was going to do that last time, but I didn't. So I'll look at that immediately after this one. Hopefully next week. Tomorrow's match is going to be Griffin Squadron taking on MY Squadron. So again, that is Griffin Squadron taking on MY Squadron is going to be tomorrow's match. I don't think there's going to be a match on Friday because I need some recuperation time, and then we'll be back on Monday. So we're doing 4 matches a week instead of the typical 3. Having the weekend off is nice. Waking up and not having anything to do on Monday or on Saturday is nice. I've gone a lot of weeks having Saturday mornings, always having something to do, and now that my daughter's 2, it's tough. It's tough. It's hard. But what happened to Grim Reapers? They're still around. What do you mean? Oh, was there a match for Grim Reapers? I think if there was, it'll be next week. I don't know. But if you're talking about their team, they're still around. They're doing really well in Gold League. Really well, actually. I think they've only lost 1. I think. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at I try not look at the stats page, so I'm totally oblivious to anything that's going on to try and give a more authentic cast to all of you guys. But that brings us to the end of today's matchup between Dragon Squadron and number 15. Number 15 took this one in 2 rounds to 0. Again, tomorrow's match is going to be Griffin Squadron taking on MY Squadron. I haven't seen them in SATAL since a lot. I think their matches were more put together, and they had to delay some of them due to some issues with DCS and some other stuff. You'll see them. They are around, and we do have. I'm trying not to skip any matches, so just heads up there. Trying not to skip anything. But again, tomorrow's match, Griffin Squadron taking on MY Squadron, and that will be at 1600 Zulu. So for all of you today, let's go back and check. Carbon 100 bits. Thank you very much. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Monk 100 bits. Thank you very much, brother. And then a couple new subs. Monk gifted a sub to Alpha Whiskey and 1 to Old Savior. Gordo gifted 1 to IGGC Cougar. Thank you very much, brother. All of it goes straight back to making the stream a better place. So more cameras hopefully coming in the future. Don't know when they're going to happen, but they are coming. But I will see you guys all tomorrow. 1600 Zulu. I'll send you out with the Thrustmaster Supercut done by Alpha Whiskey. And I will see you tomorrow, 1600 Zulu. Again, Griffin Squadron taking on MY Squadron. Until next time, fly safe in those virtual skies. See you later.